welcome to the tea with Nee and Ree. I am your host, Nee, and this is my co-host,
Ree. And hopefully you
Ree.
see both of us because we are back together again.
We are in different places, but still together.
Yes. Yes.
So today we are going to talk about, it's been a minute since we've been together, so we're going to talk about some things that, well, we always hope to talk about things that apply to not just us, but also to y'all. So today's topic is, what's our topic?
Our topic for today is career and motherhood. Do you have to make a choice? And we chose this topic because this is Women's History Month. So this month we are going to be doing topics about that affect women. So we want y'all to chime in, let us know your thoughts, let us know how you feel about the topics. But do you feel as a mom who is also a busy working professional, do you have to make a choice? Shanice, I'm gonna let you go first since you just got back into the workforce.
So what I will say is that if you choose to do both, or I can say, speaking to do both, something does go lacking. So some days I'm able to do more with my kids, and some days I have to do more with my job. So there is no balance. And since you said I just got back into the workforce, so when I was unemployed for about 2 years, or self-employed, I was doing my own thing, creating my own schedule. I catered to my kids. I catered to their schedule, my husband's schedule, and I did things according to the time that I had. Now that I have to work somebody's 8 to 4, it's a little bit harder. um I've noticed even my house, I was saying, wow, I haven't done the things that I need to do and that I could do. So yes, you can have both, but at a cost. I like doing what I'm doing. I can say when I'm doing both. So as a mom, as a wife, as a businesswoman, I do feel fulfilled. I enjoy the work that I do. I give back to the community. I'm working with kids, and I have opportunities at this position to learn other trades, so to speak. So do you have to choose? You might. You might. It just depends on what your priorities are. If you're saying, you know what, I want to be able to be there for my kids 100%, then you can't work.
Yes.
If you want to be at your job, focused at your job 100%, well, then I guess you shouldn't have kids. So, because you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do.
You have to make a choice. And
Mm.
and I think people make a choice and they don't even realize they're making a choice. They made their decision. Now, I would say from my experience, I was forced to make a choice because I had my daughter when I was still in optometry school, and they pretty much sat me down and told me that I could not continue, even though I wanted to be able to continue with optometry school. After having my daughter and everything, they told me I need to take a year off and then they would revisit it and everything. So I was forced to make a choice, which goes into that gender discrimination that we might touch upon
Yes.
in another topic as well. But I was forced to make a choice, and you do have to decide. You do have to make a choice or a decision. And I think a lot of times we don't even realize that we're making a choice or a decision, especially as you see some people choosing to have kids later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I know some people they'll work their way up I won't say the corporate ladder, but they're trying to build up in their businesses or at their job. And so they're focused on that. And then they'll focus on having a child. So I think in that regard, but I'm not in these people's shoes, but it seems to me like they've made a choice. Like they're going to focus on their career at this particular time in their life. And later on, they're going to look into, getting married or having children and that kind of thing. I think we as women are not given the privilege to be able to have children and go out and be in the workforce because a man can do it, but as a woman, we are looked at a little bit differently. Even though they're not supposed to look at us a little bit differently, we're still looked at a little bit differently um, in regards to that. And I think we make choices too even in terms of the types of jobs that we decide to go into, because we're looking at, is this job going to be friendly for me to be
Mm-hmm.
able to work with my kids or be able to pick up my kids? So we're constantly having to make a choice between what type of job am I going to have? versus what kind of mom am I going to be? And I think we're not even realizing that we are, because we so savvy at it. We're just constantly making,
Yeah, we are.
yes, we are. But we're making a choice like, okay, I'm not gonna choose this job because it demands, 40, 50 hours of my time. And I'm a mom and I have to be able to pick up my kids, or they're in little league or whatever, and I have to be able to go to the games, and and the dad is working full time, and they're not always thinking about those kinds of things or being able to go to the parent teacher meeting. So we're making sure our job is going to give us the flexibility to be able to do that. What you think,
You
Lee?
touched, I was gonna say you touched on a few things, right? So Ree mentioned that she had her daughter when was in optometry school, and I actually waited later in life. I don't know if it was a choice, but it just happened that way. So I was more settled into my job when I got pregnant. I was there, I think, probably for about 3 or 4 years, and I was in my 30s when I had my first child. So, and then also being at that job, I had seniority, right? So it was a difference. I had more time off. I had more leeway. I was able to take time even after my kids. I forgot what you call it. When you go on leave, maternity leave.
Maternity. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I had that. And I was gonna say I had more opportunities waiting till I was later. Now I left that job and I'm starting all over again. So this also I was like, wow, this is a new challenge because before when I was at work, I had time. I had time I had put in. And this one, I'm the newbie on the block. I haven't even been here maybe 6 months now. And I can't be taking off time. I can't be going to get the kids from daycare. But remember how you said how you have to get a job that's friendly towards the kids? And this one is. So I've worked my kids here. Again, I said I've been here for about 7 months. I've worked my kids to work probably a good 8 times already, and it's not a problem. And I looked at it that way because that was my I don't want to say my background, but that's what I was used to. You don't bring your kids to work, you don't do that. But I never looked at it as, oh, it's okay. And they was like, people bringing their kids too, you just don't see them because of where you're located. But this is a work, I guess, a family friendly organization, so to speak. Like, it's okay for me to get my kids, it's okay for me to, and also it's close to my kids' school. So if something happens and I need to run there real quick and then come back, it's okay. It's not a problem. And it's still taking me some time to get used to. My kids are just like, Mom, we want to go to your job. And I'm like, ho, ho, ho. It's still a job. Like, you think it's fun. It's still a job. It's still people working. But
So
when they come in, they're so like, hey, they know the kids now and they hugging them and hey, how y'all doing? How was school? So, and I couldn't do this at my last job. I definitely wasn't close enough to where I could get them. And then you can't even bring kids to the facility. That wasn't even an option. So you do look at things differently. You are forced to make choices that we don't realize we make. And one of the big things that I said when I took on this role was that I needed flexibility. Um, and I had that here. I do. I have that here. So yeah, we got to make some tough choices. Um, and your priorities change. When I was single and I didn't have any kids, it was I could work whenever. But now, especially being that they're older and they're not going to stay young for a long time, it seems like it's doing a time, but it's going so fast. And I want to make sure that I am present um, in a lot of their activities. Like, it's important for me to be able to go on a field trip. Some people might be like, a field trip, girl, what? Whatever. But for me, I want to be there. It's important for me to be able to talk to the teachers. Some people might be like, I'll do that later, but it's my priorities have changed. And I am grateful that they do have jobs where they consider those things. And I have a good boss. I
yeah,
always say that. Great boss.
yeah. So you touched on some good stuff. So I don't think
Yeah, we
as
do.
a male does. I don't think a male goes through those kinds of things when it comes to choosing a
They don't
career.
even think about it.
So they're not, oh, I got to make sure I'm a good daddy, or I got to make, I think I could be over speaking, but I think most males who have children, they're not taking certain things into consideration when it comes to their job or their professional career. They're just looking at it, oh, this will help me advance, or this is going to bring in more money, or whatever. This is going to be what's best for me. And we, as women, as moms, we're looking at what is going to be best for our family, what is going to
Right.
be for our children. So we are constantly making a choice because we are the ones being put in a position or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, unconsciously or consciously, I feel we make a choice when it comes to, and like me was saying, at the very beginning, some things are going to suffer. Like it's like you're either gonna, you can't always be the best employee, or if you are being the best employee, then probably in the mom department or in the wife department, in some department you're going to be lacking a little bit because you can't be the best at everything at all times. So unless you get AI to work for you, get a bot to do your job. I don't know, which
I was gonna say
is possible.
it, it is, but it's nothing like the original.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
then we get tired.
But even with that, I would get the bot to do my job as an employee or professionally, but not my job as a mom. So
Me neither.
still
I
making
agree.
I'm still making a choice. The bot can't be me. So
Right, right. I would definitely, but you do the job. I'm gonna go be with the kids. Go be with the husband. You have
yeah,
fun there, and make sure you bring me my money.
yes.
Run me my check.
Yes. And so these are some of the things we're facing as women. And it's good that Shanice is in a good workplace where they are friendly. And hopefully, as we start having some of these discussions, more employers will see that and start making work environments more kid friendly, family friendly. Now, I understand certain, if you work in a hospital or something, that's totally different or whatever. But even possibly giving you flexible time when it comes to leaving, or even having like daycares or something like that, something that makes it easier for the working mom or the working parent to be able to still be there and be able to see their children and everything. So, but yeah, that's our take on it. But let us know your thoughts. Nee, you want to say anything else? Because you got to go though.
Oh,
The timer
I
went.
do. I really do. I was gonna jump into something, but this may lead into another discussion. So
Okay.
for those jobs that do give you leadway, I guess, or that flexibility, do they pay as much as the other jobs that don't? Hmm.
Now I could get into that too because even if they didn't pay as much to have that flexibility, I might forego pay.
Mhm.
So see,
Yeah. Yeah.
we still
Right.
we still
We
talk.
say, hey, we're gonna go for the flexibility, and we're gonna leave that money alone.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be nice if we could get both, and maybe some jobs do. Maybe they do. Y'all can tell us. Do you have a job where you get paid nice and you have that flexibility, or is it the same? Do you care? What's your priorities? How do you feel about it? I would love to hear about it
Yes.
because I'm sure it affects a lot of women.
Say that again.
Yeah, put the comments down. I said I'm sure it affects a lot of women. Probably I don't want to say every woman, but it affects a lot of people, a lot of women.
Yeah.
So we want to hear about it. But on that note, I am on my lunch break, so I gotta go. Gotta go.
Yes. But we are back, reunited, and it feels so good. So
So good.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. This is our car confessions, as you can see in the background. We both in.
One day we will actually reveal the car confessions about the struggle is real. Let's get in this video together. But yes, we'll the rest of the month on Thursdays we will be talking about other topics that affect not women,
What you know is you know me.
women in honor of Women's History Month, and we just celebrated International Women's Day. All right, until next time.
Bye.